Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Jeva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jaya Mudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki.
We are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 15, text number 8. Tasya mam gatham pandaveya pura vida upagayanti. Word to word meanings. Tasya, of King Gaya. Imam, these. Gatham, poetic verses of glorification. Pandaveya, O Maharaj Parikshit. Pura Vida, those learned in the historical events of the Puranas. Upagayanti, sing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. My dear King Parikshit, those who are learned scholars in the histories of the Puranas eulogize and glorify King Gaya with the following verses. Purport. The historical references to exalted kings serve as a good example for present rulers. Those who are ruling the world at the present moment should take lessons from King Gaya, King Yudhishthir and King Prithu and rule the citizens so that they will be happy. Presently, the governments are levying taxes without improving the citizens in any cultural, religious, social or political ways. According to the Vedas, this is not recommended. We'll read the next sloka also. The great King Gaya used to perform all kinds of Vedic rituals. He was highly intelligent and expert in studying all the Vedic literature. He maintained the religious principles and possessed all kinds of opulence. He was a leader among gentlemen and a servant of the devotees. He was a totally qualified plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, who could equal him in the performance of gigantic ritualistic ceremonies? And next one also. All the chaste and honest daughters of Maharaj Daksha, such as Shraddha, Maitri and Daya, whose blessings were always effective, bathed Maharaj Gaya with sanctified water. Indeed, they were very satisfied with Maharaj Gaya. The planet Earth personified came as a cow, and as though she saw her calf, she delivered milk profusely when she saw all the good qualities of Maharaj Gaya. In other words, Maharaj Gaya was able to derive all benefits from the earth and thus satisfy the desire of his citizens. However, he personally had no desire. Purport. The earth over which Maharaj Gaya ruled is compared to a cow. The good qualities whereby he maintained and ruled the citizens are compared to the calf. A cow delivers milk in the presence of her calf. Similarly, the cow or earth fulfilled the desires of Maharaj Gaya, who was able to utilize all the resources of the earth to benefit his citizens. This was possible because he was bathed in sanctified water by the honest daughters of Daksha. Unless a king or ruler is blessed by authorities, he cannot rule citizens very satisfactorily. Through the good qualities of the rulers, the citizens become very happy and well qualified. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaur Tushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhesha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatam ham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Parmanand Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwar. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing from this Canto 5, Chapter 15, where we see the glories of King Gaya are being highlighted, or Maharaj Gaya's glories are being highlighted. And in the previous class also we remember how it was multiple things were glorified, how he knew very well how to deal with different kinds of people, how he took care of his citizens very, very nicely. And he was taking care of all the people who were there, the administrators who were there, the citizens who were there, in different ways. He was giving them nourishment, poshan, prinan, palan. So he was taking care in a very, very nice way. And now some further qualities are given. And as Prabhupada writes in the purport, that everyone should learn from these qualities of a ruler. Everyone should learn from these great qualities of a ruler. So we see, as the example is also given, all these histories of the great personalities that are there. One of them is this King Gaya, and the example is given of Yudhishthir Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj. So it's a very, very amazing histories that are there, and so many lessons to learn from all these different rulers. By studying their lives, by how they ruled the citizens, and how they were also engaged in devotional service. It's a very great example, and so many things can be learned by their own examples, or how they ruled the citizens and at the same time maintained their devotional service also. Like we see the example of King Yudhishthir. So its glories about him are also described, that how he was very, very generous, and he was also very, very nicely taking care of all the citizens. It's described he was very, very generous, just like a father who takes care of his son. He used to take care of the entire citizens in that way. And then personally he had no kind of desire. He used to take care of the entire citizens, he used to take care of everyone, but personally he had no desire of any sense gratification or any kind of worldly possession. Because again he was a very, very great devotee of the Lord. And it's described that his glories were spread throughout. Throughout the world, everyone learned about his glories. Everywhere he was being glorified. And to such an extent that even in the heavenly planets his glories reached. And they were also aspiring for all the things, all the facilities he had. Because his material possessions expanded like anything, he became the ruler of the entire planetary system, entire kingdom that was there, entire earth that was there that time, the Bharatvarsha. He had so many material opulences, he had amazing wife, Draupadi, and he had so amazing brothers. We all know about them, the glories of these brothers. So his possessions, his material opulences became so great that everyone, even the denizens of heavenly planets, were aspiring for that. But still it's described that Yudhishthir Maharaj was not satisfied by all that. Because Yudhishthir Maharaj's goals were something different. And this is what we see the nature in this world, that there are different classes of people. One is this materially engrossed people, who are completely looking for satisfaction in sense gratification. They'll try various ways, they'll try different things just to satisfy their senses. That is the goal of their life. Even in spirituality, they'll practice some sort of spirituality, and that will also be oriented towards satisfying their senses. Everywhere they want to satisfy their senses. So Prabhupada explains that everyone, if you see in this world, he gives the example of hunger. If a person is hungry, only thing that can satisfy him is food. You give him something else, you give him blessings, you give him prayers, he won't be satisfied. That time he needs only food. And same way, a person, everyone in this world is hungry. But then to satisfy their hunger, people engage in so many materialistic pursuits. They search for food, they search for shelter, they search for so many things just to satisfy that hunger. But Prabhupada explains that everyone in this world is actually spiritually hungry. That's why materially a person might have everything. Materially a person might have all the opulences, he might have food, he might have shelter, he might have everything. And there are many people like that. There are many people in this material world who have all the material opulences. But still they are dissatisfied. Because the hunger is not for these material things, the hunger is for the spiritual atmosphere. The hunger is for the spiritual food, the spiritual shelter, or the spiritual sense gratification. And unless that point is realized, that point is not understood, everyone will remain dissatisfied in his pursuits. No one in this world will be satisfied. Because of this ignorance, not understanding that how we can be satisfied, all the people, they try so many things in this material world, engage in so many ways, so many different kinds of sense gratification, but still they remain dissatisfied. As Prahlad Maharaj also says in his prayers, Punah Punash Charvita Charvananam, that again and again chewing the chew, again and again trying to find satisfaction in something which has already been tried by so many people. But still people don't become satisfied. And again, here Prabhupada points out there is another fault of the leaders, who are just engaging the people in the same activities, who are not spiritually trying to help the people. And that way, even after being engaged, even after being materially opulent, people completely remain dissatisfied. People are still not satisfied. Because satisfaction can only be obtained in the association of devotees. In the association, when a person associates with devotees, when a person takes to spiritual practice, only then he can aspire or he can get to that point where he can be satisfied. And just like we have the example of Yudhishthir Maharaj, who was actually satisfied, or he was not satisfied by these worldly possessions, worldly opulences, because he had his satisfaction somewhere else. Even though he was the greatest king, the ruler of the entire Bharatvarsha, he had all the opulences, whatever is needed, what anyone can aspire for. But still that was the reason, not the reason of his satisfaction. The reason of his satisfaction was he was constantly engaged in service of the Lord. Constantly engaged in thinking about the Lord, constantly engaged in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. And that was the reason he was completely satisfied. He did not aspire for anything else. And that is what we see when a person is liberated from the material worlds, he is not liberated from the material modes, then he is not satisfied by anything of this world. What to speak about this earthly planet, he is not even satisfied by going to heavenly planets. He does not even aspire for happiness in the Brahma Loka, because the person is completely satisfied by engaging in the service of the Lord. Even so, here in this case we saw that even the denizens of heaven were aspiring for all the kinds of opulences which Maharaj Yudhishthir had. But he was not aspiring for any of those, or he was not at all connected, so he was not at all attached to any of those, because he had some higher aspirations. And that is the reason, because he was engaged in the service of the Lord. So like this, all these examples we see of these great rulers who were there, who ruled the kingdom in a very, very amazing way. But at the same time, they were fixed in their devotional service to the Lord. And that's why they were not attached to it. Even though they ruled the kingdom very, very nicely, they did whatever was necessary for the citizens. But when the time came, they retired also. Like that chapter is there, Pandavas retired timely. As soon as Yudhishthir Maharaj got the news that Krishna has left this planet, Krishna has left the abode, and then he decided that he'll also leave, or he gave up the entire kingdom, duties of the entire kingdom, and he left along with his brothers, he left the kingdom. That time giving the duties to Maharaj Parikshit. So this way we see that even though having all those possessions, everything was there, he was not at all attached to them. He knew the only thing that is needed in this world, or only important thing, is devotional service to the Lord. And that is what the shloka in Bhagavad Gita also says, Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tatam. that one who gets this satisfaction, one who engages in devotional service and gets a little taste in that, then he does not aspire for anything else in this world. Of course, this is the case with materially, this is the case with people who are liberated from the modes. So we described about the materially engrossed people, we described about the people who are liberated from the modes, that they are completely satisfied. Also, of course, the third case is ones those who are practicing to be liberated, or those who are practicing or aspire for that goal. So they are also trying to be satisfied, like we are all practicing sadhakas who are trying to be satisfied in spiritual things, but sometimes also seek shelter of sense gratification. So that keeps on happening because currently we have not yet reached the stage. But then what we see, at least we understand our goal is such high that once we reach that stage, we will be completely satisfied, not aspiring for anything else. So further, many other qualities of V.C. Maharaj Gaya are described here. He was greatly highly intelligent, very, very intelligent and very, very learned scholar of the Vedic scriptures. He knew all the scriptures. He maintained the religious principles very, very nicely, whatever was required. Basically, he took care of all the citizens. He followed the Varnashram system very, very nicely, taking care of the Brahmanas by giving them lots of charity, taking care of the Kshatriyas by fighting. When he used to, it's described that sometimes when he used to battle with the Kshatriyas, that time he used to fight on basis of religious principles. He used to fight in such basis that even the other party was very, very satisfied by his fighting, because he never cheated anybody. He fought on basis of religious principles. And so even the Kshatriyas used to be satisfied. They used to also pay respect and surrender to him. He took care of the Vaishyas also by giving them various facilities, giving them gifts. And same, he took care of the Shudras by giving them food, by giving them shelter. So it's described how he maintained the religious principles very, very nicely, and he satisfied all the citizens. And then he possessed all opulences. He was the ruler of the entire place, so definitely he possessed all the different kinds of opulences. And another thing that was mentioned is that everyone was satisfied with him. Everyone in that assembly, everyone in the citizenship, or everyone in his rule was satisfied by his rule. And that is a very, very amazing quality, that how he knew how to satisfy. And then same things we see in the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthir and other great kings who were there, even in the kingdom of Maharaj Amrish, that how they satisfied all the citizens in the kingdom. Everyone was satisfied with his rule. And another point that is mentioned is that even though he was a leader of the assembly of devotees, yet he remained a servant of the devotees. So this we see another quality of humility that was in him. Even though it's described that he was the leader of the entire place, leader of the assembly of devotees, he was the king of the place, but yet he was consistently busy in serving the devotees. He never became very, very proud. Just like we give the example of the tree. Like a tree which does not have fruits, which does not have leaves, it automatically stands straight because there are no qualities in him, no qualities in that tree. But a tree which is loaded with many fruits, many leaves, automatically is bows down. Basically, the point is similarly a person who has all the good qualities. A person who is loaded with all these good qualities, automatically he becomes humble. And we have mentioned such examples. We had the example of Arjuna. How he, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, he took the humble position. Even though he was the very, very great king, very great archer who was there, very, very popular, even though he had defeated so many opponents, but still he took the position of humility and he surrendered to the Lord, taking instructions from the Supreme Lord. And same mood we see in Maharaj Gaya. That how, even though he was the great leader, he was maintaining the religious principles so nicely, still he was very, very humble, always busy in serving the devotees. And same thing we also see in the qualities of Maharaj Prithu also. So even in the case of Maharaj Prithu, it's described that he was also the best among the followers of religious principles. He also used to maintain his kingdom very, very nicely. Even though it's described he was born of Vena. Vena, who was a very, very abominable king, a tyrant ruler who was there, who disturbed the citizens in any way. But then Prithu Maharaj, since the Brahmanas, they conducted sacrifices and Prithu Maharaj was born, he was the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And Prithu Maharaj also conducted the citizens in a very, very nice way. He maintained the religious principles very, very nicely. He used to engage everyone in doing spiritual practices, and also he used to chastise those who were atheists. or those who didn't follow the religious practices, he used to nicely chastise those also. So it's described he was also a great king, very, very great ruler. And when Maharaj Prithu was coronated, so this was after Maharaj Vena was killed by the Brahmanas, by the curse of the Brahmanas, and Prithu Maharaj was coronated. And his wife was there, Archi, they were both coronated. So they were dressed nicely, they were wearing nice garments, and they were coronated. Everyone assembled there. It was a great event that was there. All the demigods assembled there, they were singing their glories. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and so many other personalities came there, and they were all busy in singing their glories. And everyone was giving them certain gifts. Vayudev gave them some gift, Varun Dev gave them some gift to Prithu Maharaj. Lord Shiva, it's described, he gave him a sword. And even Durga, Mother Durga came, she gave him a shield. And like that, all of them gave Prithu Maharaj different gifts, because they knew that he was the incarnation of the Lord who had come here to rule the entire kingdom. And all of them were engaged in glorifying Prithu Maharaj. They were singing his glories. And of course, on their part, there was no wrong, because they knew he is the Supreme Personality and they were singing his glories. But Prithu Maharaj was not very happy to hear. Of course, he was happy to hear the glories by his devotees. But at the same time, to set an example, he made this statement that why are you praising all these qualities of mine which are not yet manifested? Because he was just coronated, he had not manifested any of his qualities, even though they knew he was the Supreme Lord. With time, he will manifest all those qualities. But still he was telling, why are you praising me for this unnecessarily when I have not even manifested those qualities? Why are you speaking something glorious about me which has not yet happened, or I have not done any such thing to be glorious like that? And he says there clearly that it is only a fool. A foolish person will only accept such glories which he doesn't manifest or which he doesn't have, because that is more of an insult. So there he talks about this thing that when we glorify someone and we tell something which is not there in the person, so that is not actually a glorification, that is an insult to the person. And that's what Prithu Maharaj said, that you are glorifying all these things which I don't have. It's like an insult you are doing to me. And he gives the example, just like if you glorify some person, that maybe if this person was educated, he would have become a great scholar. So that is a kind of insult you are doing to that person, that maybe if he was like that, he would have become like that. And same thing Prithu Maharaj also tells, basically a mood of humility he teaches, that he doesn't accept any kind of glorification or any kind of qualities which he didn't possess. And he says that later when I manifest all these qualities, when I show all these qualities, you can offer the prayers, but not at this point of time. And this is how we see how all these great rulers who were there, they maintained that mood of humility. Even Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he was supposed to be coronated the king, he also thought that I am so sinful, I have caused the death of so many of the opponents who were there, so many of the Kauravas. How can I rule the kingdom? I am not fit to rule this kingdom, because just because of this kingdom I was the reason, or I am the cause of the death of all these Kauravas. Even though we knew that was not the reason, but still that was the humility of Yudhishthir Maharaj. And we see the same mood of humility even in Srila Prabhupada. So it's described Srila Prabhupada, right from his childhood, he was also the leader among his groups. And everyone used to ask anything, any doubt from Srila Prabhupada. That time he was Abhacharan. So among his group, he was considered as the leader. And even when one saintly person had come to Kolkata, who was later his spiritual master, that time also one of his friends of Abhacharan, whose name was Naren, he was taking him there, that please come, I want you to see one person, one saintly person had come to Kolkata. And there also Abhacharan was not interested, but this person was like, if you come and you sanctify, or you accept, you say that this person is genuine, we'll all accept. So you see, Abhacharan also had that quality, that he, right from his birth, right from his childhood, he was the leader among his circle, and whatever he used to say, everyone used to accept. But even after that, we see how great, or how the humility of Srila Prabhupada was there, that even right from child, he was also a kind of leader. He also did so many daunting tasks of starting this mission, doing so many things, spreading this Krishna consciousness to the West. But he was also, at all times, he was very humble. Whenever the reporters or other people used to glorify him, that you have done such a great task, you have done such an amazing, unimaginable task. And he always used to say that whatever I did, it is just the mercy of my spiritual master. I just heard something, I just heard nicely from my spiritual master, and my only glory is that I repeated the same words as it is. He never took it on himself that I have done a big thing, or I'm so glorious that I have created such a great mission. Always he said that I just repeated the same words which I heard from my own spiritual master. And even though we know that how much great task he did, that what so many, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had other disciples whom he sent to the West before Srila Prabhupada. And even though they were given so much support and all those things, still they couldn't do much. And Prabhupada had done such a great task, but still he maintained that mood of humility. And rather, I was hearing in one of the letters he wrote in the 1970, he wrote a letter to one of his disciples. And there he expresses his mood of humility. He says that I am a very unworthy servant of my spiritual master, because he gave me the order long back. It was in 1922 he was given the order that you preach in the West. And I executed the order after so many years. I delayed so much in executing the order of the spiritual master. And I'm such a fallen servant. And that was the mood of humility which Prabhupada exhibited. He never took the glories to him that at least I did something. He could have said that at least, okay, what's the big deal if I waited for so many years? I did it, no, after all. But he didn't do like that. He said that I'm such an unworthy servant that I took so many years to execute the order of my spiritual master. And then he says, of course, that better late than never. At least one day I began. And that's why my spiritual master sent all of you. He was telling to his disciples. And that is the reason I tried executing my orders of my spiritual master. He sent all of you to help me in my mission. This was his mood of Srila Prabhupada, always thinking about the mercy of his spiritual master, never took credit for his own. And even I was hearing many of the times Srila Prabhupada would ask his disciples to read his own books. Basically the books he had written, Prabhupada was asking disciples, read these books, and Prabhupada used to hear them. And disciples would be confused that Prabhupada, you only wrote these books, why do you want to hear them again? And he used to say, no, Krishna is the one who dictated me and I just wrote. It is Krishna who wrote, or Krishna is the one who told me what to write and I just wrote, and I want to hear it over and over again. So this was the mood of Srila Prabhupada, who was empowered by his spiritual master, and he always considered himself a servant of his spiritual master, never took any credit for his own. And this is what we see, the same mood is here established also in the King Gaya, who was, even though he was the leader of all the devotees, he was a very great personality, but still always serving the devotees, always maintained himself as the servant of the devotees. And then later on, as it's mentioned, that he was blessed by all these people, the chaste and honest daughters of Maharaj Daksha that were there. Shraddha, so it's described that these names are symbolic also. So when daughters of Shraddha blessed Gaya with faith, or when Shraddha did Abhishek, I just mentioned that they bathed him with water. So that was, they blessed him with faith. And Maitri, when it said, Maitri blessed Maharaj Gaya with friendship. So this is how the names are symbolic, that all these blessings of faith, friendship to all the people like that was given to Maharaj Gaya by these honest daughters of Daksha. And then it's mentioned that they were all very satisfied because of the mood of humility of Maharaj Gaya. They were all very, very satisfied. And then it's mentioned the planet Earth personified came as a cow. And as though she saw her calf, she delivered milk profusely when she saw all the good qualities of Maharaj Gaya. So just like that, when a cow, when he sees the calf, and automatically starts, because of affection for the calf, because of love for the calf, it automatically starts delivering profuse quantities of milk. Same way it's mentioned that the planet Earth is compared to the cow and Maharaj Gaya is the calf. And just by seeing those good qualities of Maharaj Gaya, just by seeing how he maintained the religious principles, the planet Earth gave all the nutrients, everything, all the grains that was required in plenty. No one in the entire state was hungry. Everyone got plenty of foodstuffs, because of the amazing rule of Maharaj Gaya. And this is what Prabhupada many times compares this with the present kingdom, when everyone says there is shortage of food, there is shortage of this, shortage of that. Actually, if everyone engages in maintaining the religious principles, if the leader engages everyone in maintaining religious principles, there won't be any shortage in this world. And this we see in the rule of Maharaj Gaya. Even we saw in the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthir. So it's mentioned here, Maharaj Gaya was able to derive all benefits from the earth and thus satisfy all the desires of his citizens. However, he personally had no desire. So here also we see that he got everything from the earth. Basically, he satisfied the earth. Earth became just like a cow, and he gave all the things. Earth gave all the things that were necessary for the citizens. for the satisfaction of all the different varnas and ashramas. But even Maharaj Gaya was not at all attached to all this. He personally had no desire for any sense gratification. His personal desire was only one, that was to engage in the devotional service of the Lord, that is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. And finally, it's mentioned here that this was possible because he was bathed in sanctified water by the honest daughters of Daksha. Unless a king or ruler is blessed by authorities, he cannot rule the citizens very satisfactorily. Though the good qualities of the rulers, through the good qualities of the rulers, citizens became very happy and well qualified. So this another important point that is mentioned here, because he got the blessings from the daughters of Daksha, that was the reason he was able to rule the citizens very satisfactorily. And this we see, one of the very important points here, we see that blessings of authorities are very, very important, even for a devotee to advance in devotional service. If he wants to satisfy the Supreme Lord, if he wants to do something, if he wants to advance in his devotional service, then blessings or mercy of the authorities, mercy of the spiritual master is very, very needed. And we see this in many, many pastimes. Like recently, there was the disappearance of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So now we see in his life, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is also a devotee of the next level, very, very great devotee. And described he had accepted, or he accepted initiation from Rup Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Both of them he considered as his spiritual masters. So now Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he was there. It was Jeev Goswami who used to give titles to all the devotees who used to be there. So Jeev Goswami used to give titles to every qualified devotee who was present there. And it was Jeev Goswami who gave him the title Kaviraj. So Kaviraj means the king of all poets. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was a very, very qualified devotee, very, very great devotee, and that's why Jeev Goswami gave him the title Kaviraj. And this title was given because he wrote a book known as Govinda Leelamrit. Because he wrote this amazing book Govinda Leelamrit, which was very, very amazing, filled with so many different poetic expansions about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And that's why he was given that title of Kaviraj. And even in his life, we see he had a vast knowledge of all the Vedic scriptures. He was a very, very learned scholar, and devotees who have read these scriptures or who have read the scriptures written by him, they used to say that he had knowledge from all the different scriptures, all the Vedas, Puranas. He gives references from many places. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was not an ordinary personality, a very, very great personality. But we see even such a great personality exhibited the mood of humility. Multiple times he said that I am very, very fallen. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita only that verse comes where he says that I am lower than a worm in the stool. Basically, I am very, very fallen person. I am even lower than Jaga and Madhai. Now we are talking of the same personality who was given the title of Kaviraj, who was actually very qualified, very, very learned. But this is how this great devotee presented himself with a mood of humility. And one of the pastimes we see in the life of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is the pastime when he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that is also a very, very amazing pastime. This happened when he was in his late 90s. So that time he was very, very old. He was old, invalid. He was not able to see properly, not able to walk properly. And that time he was given this task, which was almost impossible, to write the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was thinking, how can I do that? And out of the mood of humility, he was thinking, how is it possible? I am not a very great learned person, and I have become so old. I cannot write, so I cannot see properly what to speak about writing when I am being given this request. So he had this mode of humility, but still, since the instruction was given, so it's described that he went to each and every devotee. It's described that he went to each and every devotee in Vrindavan. He took blessings from each and every devotee who was there. And then, when he was blessed by all the devotees, then he went to temples of Vrindavan. So it's described, as we are discussing about the blessings, how important it is to have blessings of the authorities. So when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he thought this is a very, very daunting task, very difficult task. And that's why he went in Vrindavan to all the great devotees. He sought their blessings or asked for their blessings. And then finally he went to Madan Mohan temple to seek the blessings of his Ishtadev. And there it is described when he went to Madan Mohan temple, the garland from the deity that fell. And the Pujari garlanded him. Pujari gave that garland or garlanded Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami with that garland. And that is the time when he realized that, okay, this is the desire of the Lord, or I have got the blessings, or I have got the mercy of the Lord. And that's where he began that daunting task of writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So here also we see the mood of humility, the mood of seeking for blessings is clearly described. Even though he was, as it's described, he was a great scholar, he had written many books before also. He had written the Govind Lilamrit and many other compositions, which were very, very great and very, very respected by all the scholars who were there. But still he had this mood of humility that he considered himself completely unqualified. And even while he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's described since the childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, they were already described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And he said that I cannot excel Vrindavan Das Thakur, who wrote the Chaitanya Bhagavat, in any way. That's why he gave the childhood pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a very, very brief way. Not to override the pastimes which have already been given by Vrindavan Das Thakur. This was his mood of humility. So we see this, both the things, the mood of humility and how the mood of seeking blessings from the authorities. Both the things were present in the life of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And finally, when he received blessings from Radha Madan Mohan, then he began that task, and that is why we all have this Chaitanya Charitamrita, the amazing version which we read today, written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So, and that's what is mentioned here also, that unless a king or ruler is blessed by authorities, he cannot rule the citizens very satisfactorily. So basically the importance of blessings of authorities is mentioned here, or the importance given that how important is blessings even in spiritual life. To advance in spiritual life, to do any kind of instruction, to follow any kind of instruction, blessings of authority is very, very important. And we see this even in the life of Srila Prabhupada. When he was about to go to the West, when everything was set, that time first he went to the Samadhi of his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, just to seek for his blessings, just to seek his mercy for doing this task. And then he went to Shantipur. Shantipur, that was the Samadhi of Advaita Acharya. And that place also he went, Shantipur is the place where Advaita Acharya stayed. And there also he seeked the blessings of Advaita Acharya so that he can do this task of going to the West and spreading this movement. And it's described multiple times. It seems he used to go to Shantipur, he used to cry before the deities, he used to cry there, just seeking for empowerment that he becomes successful in his mission of preaching this mission in the West. So always throughout the life of Srila Prabhupada also we see the same mood of humility was displayed, and also the mood of seeking blessings from the authorities. When he was traveling in Jaladuta also, when he reached the West, there also he says, there also in that famous poem he wrote, Markine Bhagavat Dharma, there also he writes that I don't have any bhakti, even though I have been given the title of Bhakti Vedanta. Neither I have any bhakti, neither I am a Vedantist. And it is only by your blessings, he was addressing to the Supreme Lord, that it is only by the blessings of my spiritual master and blessings of the Lord can my words be effected so that these people can change. Because these people, they are completely in the mode of passion and ignorance. And only if you empower me, or only if you want me to, speak through me, then my words can have any power, and then they can penetrate the hearts of these people, change the hearts of these people. So the same thing we see throughout in the Bhagavatam, in the story of these rulers and in the great acharyas who were there. The mood of humility that was constant, never taking the credit for themselves, never being satisfied by such opulences, never thinking big when they get all the worldly opulences, but always being satisfied in engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. And always being in the mood of seeking blessings from the authority, seeking mercy from the superiors who are there to be successful in their endeavors. Okay, with this I would like to end here. Any questions, comment we can take, or we can take reflections. Okay, one point we can share.
Gaya has very nice qualities that you told. The earth is like a cow and Maharaj Gaya is like a calf, and the earth giving all the facilities to the citizens of Gaya Maharaj, And very nice point you told. Hmm. Then who has all good qualities, he becomes humble. Like the tree who have all the fruits, it bow down. And the tree who don't have any fruits, they stand like straight. And the blessings of authority is very very needed. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the very nice class. So you mentioned about different kings like King Yudhishthir Maharaj, King Prithu Maharaj, King Gaya, and also King Amrish Maharaj, and also of our Acharyas Krishna Raj Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Prabhupada, like how they were very humble, and even though they are qualified and things like that, but still their humility and their devotion, and how they follow the religious principles very nicely, and how they maintain the people very nicely and took care of them. And even though like Yudhishthira Maharaj had all the opulences, still he was not inclined for that. He was not interested in all those things, and he was only interested in the devotional service of the Lord, which we can see at the end of his life, where he gave up when as soon as Lord Krishna left. And many other qualities of even how King Prithu Maharaj, like it's a blasphemy if we over glorify a person or the qualities is not there. But even though Prithu Maharaj was a partial expansion of the Lord, empowered by the Lord, he had all the good qualities, but still he was very humble. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. To follow the instructions and to advance in bhakti, we need blessings of authority. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for this wonderful class. Started with saying like everyone is looking for satisfaction of their hunger, but they are after doing so much, becoming materially opulent or something, but they are still not satisfied because of their hunger is not material. Their hunger is spiritual, and which is shown by our previous leaders like Maharaj Gaya, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj. They have so much material opulence, but they are not aspiring for those things. But they are only busy in serving the Lord and always associate with devotees. So by them we can understand like the only thing which satisfies us is the service to the Lord and association of devotees. And for that we should always accept the blessing of Lord and spiritual master and devotees. By that we can advance and we can do a progress on the path of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you nicely explained in the beginning that what is the real cause of satisfaction for living entities. So it's not the material opulence, because Yudhishthir Maharaj and all the other kings, then King Gaya, they had lots of material opulences, so much so that the citizens of heavenly planets also desired that. But Yudhishthir Maharaj was not satisfied by looking at his material opulence. He was satisfied because he was constantly absorbed in serving the Lord. And the proof of that was that as soon as he heard that Krishna has disappeared, he simply gave up all his material opulences, relationships, everything, and went for the next ashram to attain the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Jai.